There are a few primary tools that you can use in generating ideas. The most common is brainstorming, and I'll explain that along with these others as we go. Brainstorming in our use is a structured form of brainstorming. So we first start with the first person. If we're doing this live, for example, we'll pick a starting place in the room, and we go from person to person asking them to generate ideas, give an idea. And we go from person to person because we want everyone to participate. The key here is to do three to five words. And that's a little hard, but all we need to do is get the general idea out there. So it could be something like accidents in the parking lot. No one will know what that means, but we have a step to cover that later. So 3 to 5 words, and it's important that you discipline yourselves to do that, otherwise it takes a long time. And typically with brainstorming, we have people jumping on, oh, that's a great idea, or we tried that before, it'll never work. And all of this editorializing along the way slows the process down and tends to shape the brainstorming process. The ideas that come out of it are shaped or biased by those comments, and so we want it to be as pure as possible. So no discussion, no great idea, glad you thought of that, nothing other than the ideas themselves. So 3 to 5 words. And I'm going to lay this out as though this were on a flip chart, and I'll just kind of draw a little flip chart here. You'll be using a spreadsheet that one of my students developed while the team was doing this process in a live class. He was very good at spreadsheets, and so he gave us permission to use it, and that's what you'll use. But I just want to get the basic idea across. So when you're brainstorming, you'll have the subject that you're brainstorming. You want to make sure that the ideas people are giving are on the mark, as opposed to, oh, I thought you meant this, and then all of their ideas are irrelevant, and that's not productive. So we make sure that the subject is in place, and then each idea is listed, and you'll notice I'm leaving some margin room, and I'm leaving some space in between the lines. I'm doing that because we're going to come back and clarify each of these ideas, and I'll get to that in a minute. So these 3 to 5 words, and it's also important that we label each idea with a letter of the alphabet. We don't use numbers because that infers some form of priority. And the author's initials. If there are 50 words on the list, you won't remember everything you said. And so if I don't specifically say, Ron, you said this, then it's very likely that I won't be able to remember those ideas, and so we have a bunch of ideas that don't get a lot of explanation. So put the author's initial. 3 to 5 words. The idea is to do a total brain dump. That is, get as many ideas out as possible in as quick amount of time as we can. Now, sometimes teams tend to set a limit, like 5 minutes. That's artificial, it's arbitrary. The time ought to be limited to when the team runs out of ideas. And you start to see that when the team starts to say pass. So if you don't have an idea, you simply say pass. And if there are a number of passes, then the facilitator and or the team leader says, okay, let's open it up. In effect, we greenlight the process, and everyone can just contribute freely. That's the point to push yourselves. In the last 2 or 3 minutes of brainstorming, that's often where the best ideas surface, because you see all of the ideas that are listed and you're processing subconsciously, and often the very best ideas come at the end. So it's important to push yourselves a little farther than you think you can and should go. So once we've done all of that, then the next step is for us to come back and eliminate duplicates. The next step is to define or clarify each item. So we'll write under that, and notice I'm using a different color. Under each item, we'll write the clarification, and again 3 to 5 words. So if A is accidents in the parking lot, the clarification might be when it snows. That way I know what you mean, and that's really all I need to know. We could spend a lot of time discussing it, but it really wouldn't be helpful. So we clarify each idea. This is the tedious part, but it's important that we do that for each idea. Don't be guilty of, does anybody need any clarification of any of these ideas? The problem with that is we don't know what people understand, and we don't know if they understand it accurately. So it may be that when I clarify B, you think, oh, I thought you meant something else. And then we have a different interpretation of that and potentially a different idea. So it's important that we clarify each idea in turn. And then we come back and eliminate duplicates. And it's important that we eliminate exact duplicates. If they're kind of close, don't eliminate them. The process will take care of it as it goes along. So we might have D is a duplicate of B. I like the wording of B better, so I'm going to cross that out and indicate the letter B. That tells me where that went, and B then becomes the primary idea, or the one that's best articulated. So to walk this through again, we list all of the ideas, we brainstorm as fast as possible, and if you have a larger group or if the ideas are coming faster, you could use 2 recorders. Get all the ideas out, come back and clarify, or not explain, but clarify each idea, and then eliminate exact duplicates. And once you've done that, you're ready to move on to the next step.